Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and welcome to the regular council meeting for November 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. We have one council member from Place One, Councilmember Smith, who will be late tonight attending another event at Garden Ridge Elementary School. Would you please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please take your seats. Can I have members of the Davenport High School band come on up? It's a busy night. Maybe I'll just stand in front of the podium. It's a busy night for Davenport Wolves Nation. We got a big event going on at Garden Ridge Elementary School. Tonight is the academic awards ceremony at Davenport High School. And we wanted to have the band with us, led by Mr. Keys. And I only know Noah Bliss right here. Can you guys introduce yourself down the road?
Yeah, I'm Virginia Simone.
Good evening, I'm Kumar Karai.
I'm Lindsay Griffin. I'm Lindsay Drew.
Yeah, Jeff Keys.
Tell us what you guys play. So you're a drum major in trumpet, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm a drum major in saxophone.
I'm the junior drum major and I also play the trumpet.
I'm a calligraphy captain. I'm a drum major in French horn.
And Mr. Keys, how long have you been at Davenport High School with the band?
3 years open the school, so I was there from day one. We had about 33 students when we started, so it's really been fun to see this grow.
It's amazing. So last weekend, they've been practicing. Nobody practices more than the band. So I've got a football player son. He's out there every morning and a little bit in the afternoon, but the band is out there all the time. We have flag football practice at Davenport High School on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're done at 7, and they're still going as it's getting dark, and band parents are driving up to pick everybody up. So nobody practices more than you guys, but it pays off because tell us about what happened last weekend. No, you got it.
Virginia's actually gonna.
Okay, you got it.
So this past weekend we went to our area competition. We're Area E. It was at Cal Allen High School, which is a little bit, it's near Corpus Christi is where we were going out to. So we went to that competition. There were 32 bands, including us, at that competition, and the top 12 made finals. We made finals. Out of the top 12 kids, bands that made finals, the top 6 made state, and we were number 2. So.
What's the name of the performance that you're doing? Full Circle, is that
Yes,
correct?
our show is called Full Circle. It explores some different movements that are reminiscent of like childhood and coming in full circle. Mr. Keys was telling us just today that he picked this show because he feels like as a band we do the same thing over and over and over again, but each time it gets stronger, and that's kind of what the Full Circle is meant to represent.
When is the next time that we can see Full Circle, you guys perform?
So there's a couple of options for you guys. On Friday at the football game, we always perform our halftime show. So that's this Friday at Davenport High School. Yeah.
I think this Friday we are recognizing our seniors.
Oh, are we not doing the halftime? Okay.
You can talk about
Okay, so we get that.
Yes, sir. He's a senior.
Yes, apparently. So on Saturday, though, we do have a competition that we're hosting at Davenport High School. We perform at 3 p.m.
4:30.
What? I thought we performed at 3.
4:30. We got you.
Okay, we perform at 4:30. And then if you don't make that one, we are performing at 3 p.m.
Yes.
at State
Yes.
at the Alamo Dome on November 9th, next Wednesday.
It's fantastic. You're going to state at the Alamo. The third year of the program, you guys are on your way to state, and that's, you said November 9th? Is that-
November 9th.
Okay, so
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday, we'll all be thinking about you. So we got kickoff at against Marble Falls here at home. Our last regular season game before we go to the playoffs, 7:30, and then halftime sometime around
8:39.
yeah 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then obviously on Saturday afternoon at 4:30, right?
4:30.
Davenport. And then we want to wish you well on your way to state. So You guys are fantastic. Next time you come, bring your trumpet, bring some drums, and entertain us for a little bit, okay? We know you're busy. Every one of you have to go to Davenport High School right now to go to the academic thing, right? So
We just want to thank the community for all you guys' support. We really couldn't have done, I know people always say that we couldn't have done this without the community, but we really couldn't have. You guys actually do a lot more than you even realize, so we just really appreciate your support.
you need to be up here someday. One more time.
If I can get the time for
Thanks so much. Good luck. Have fun. Thanks for being here.
us. Thank you.
Awesome. Go Wolves. Okay, next on the agenda are two Eagle Scout presentations, but guess what? They are at Davenport High School Academic Awards tonight. So we will, go figure, right? So we will welcome them in December, yes? Okay, the Scoutmaster down to my left. Okay, that closes out number 3. We'll go on to item number 4, citizen comment period. We have Mr. Shelby Trial. Please come forward. You have 3 minutes, and we can't we can't talk about what you're talking about, but we're taking notes and listening, and thank you.
Thank you. Let me begin by saying I made the attempt to find a less contentious way for the city to resolve the issues surrounding the ridiculous charges brought against former Mayor Thompson. In August, I sent a request to Mayor Erickson asking him to issue an apology to the citizens of Garden Ridge and former Mayor Thompson for the mistake the city made in trying to criminally charge him for something he did not do. I never received a reply. With regards to City Council's actions against Mayor Thompson, it proves once again that anyone in the city can be targeted. Last month, I exposed the results of the Texas Rangers investigation into the charges against Mayor Thompson. After talking with the complainants, the Rangers were essentially befuddled as to why they even received such a ridiculous request for an investigation. I'd venture to say that the Rangers thought the complainants were just having a hissy fit. How embarrassing for our city. To date, this council and the city have wasted over $10,000 on this folly, and they continue to spend even more money on attorney fees and employee time as I continue to dig for answers. With the assistance of the state attorney general's office, the city was denied its appeals and was forced to disclose some, but not all, the information to taxpayers. If going after Mayor Thompson for the crime of the century was such a noble cause, why is City Council trying so hard to hide information? What happened to all that talk about transparency? I've covered the Rangers' investigative report, and now you have a rough idea how much taxpayer money has been wasted on this matter so far. No one from City Council has contacted me to correct any of the information I've presented. Next month, I hope to provide residents with the results of my latest open records request. In it, I asked the city to identify any official city records that are missing. If no city records are missing, then that means Mayor Thompson did not destroy any official records. I'm also requesting the city to identify any official city records that were entrusted to Mayor Thompson to be kept solely on his personal computer. I sure hope I won't have to enlist the State Attorney General's office again and try to pry that information out of the city. Lastly, according to this month's grapevine, in November 1978, the city's very first mayor, Mayor Paul Davis, and 4 of the council members resigned. Perhaps history should repeat itself before council or the complainants have another costly hissy fit.
Thanks, Shelby. All right, there's no one else signed up. So we'll close out item number 4 and go on to item number 5, the consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside the consent agenda. Council, do you have anybody want to pull anything from this month's consent agenda? To my left? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve. Can I have a second? Second. Motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda passes. On to item number 6, staff reports. 6A, City Administrator Monthly Activity Report. Nancy, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several things to go over tonight. The first one is a thank you note was sent to Chief Eberhardt from First United Bank, thanking him for the annual security meeting, assisting them with their annual security meeting. Lieutenant Bellinger also received a thank you note from First United Bank, thanking him for his help with their annual security meeting. And then Councilmember Place 5, Kay Bauer, she sent a thank you letter thanking Dwayne Scognio for creating a fenced outdoor play area for the dogs that we have impounded here at the city. Robert Mann, Jack Droughty, and Ryan Ferguson have helped with taking care of the dogs and creating that grassy play area for them. Okay, we have a couple of anniversaries to announce. Our first anniversary of 22 years is Stephen Steinmetz. And then for 8 years, we have Chief Ron Eberhardt. Thank you both for your service to the city. Okay, the next item I have to review is the volunteer hours for the month of October. There were 4 hours from the ladies who helped stuff water bills. The library had 164 volunteer hours. The Parks Department had a total of 95 volunteer hours. And the Garden Ridge Citizens Police Alumni Association had 198.5 hours. So total volunteer hours this month was huge at 461.5 hours. We can't do it without our volunteers. Okay, a couple of other announcements I have is First Friday is this coming Friday. It will be tailgating, 5 to 7, correct? I believe there'll be some food trucks. Okay, and this will be the last First Friday until February 2023. Also, we have dumpsters every odd month for 4 weekends out of the month. However, in November, we will not have dumpsters, bulk dumpsters, November 12th and 13th. That weekend is being moved to December 3rd and 4th. So there will also, Public Works is going to put signs up so people visiting the dumpsters this coming weekend will be aware of it. Also, our Public Works Director, Stephen Steinmetz, will be attending an Engaged Leaders Foundation for the Future training in Bryan, Texas next week. And we are so excited to see what he brings back to the city that he learns in that training that he can share with all of us. Then, I believe every council member, you have an invitation to the City Employee Council Christmas Party. That is December 16th from noon to 4. And please RSVP if you will be attending so we can make sure we've got a correct head count for the food and the activities. That's all I had, Mayor.
Thanks, Nancy. 22 years, Stephen. That's huge. And you're on your way to, I thought it was College Station, but Bryan, same thing, right? So Gig'em, so thanks for going on that training. We can't wait to see what you bring back to us and leadership-wise for the city of Garden Ridge. Chief, congrats on 8 years of service. That's gone by pretty fast. So Sue, congrats. I know you're out in the audience. Gone by fast. The leader at home. And then how many hours, how many volunteer hours?
400 and, let me get back to my page, 461.5
That's amazing.
hours.
So that's the car show, and that's trunk or treat. And I've always said that our volunteerism is the lifeblood of Garden Ridge, and we cannot get it done without all of our volunteer hours out there. So that's amazing. Council, any questions for Nancy? Okay. Outstanding, thanks. Move on to item 6B, Finance and HR. Christine, ma'am, the floor is yours. Big week coming up next week.
How about now? Better? Okay. Yes, sir, the auditors will be on site beginning Monday for the next week to begin the city's audit. And that's really all I have for tonight. It's just, that's a really big week coming up next week.
It's a big week, and you're going to do smashingly,
We're going to do smashingly.
no doubt in my mind. Council, any questions for Ms. Christine? Okay. Moving on to City Secretary, Marissa. I think there's an introduction that we need to make, yes?
Yes, so as you can see, there is a new face up here this evening. This is Courtney Billy. She is our new Assistant City Secretary / Communications Specialist. And we are thrilled to have her here with the city. I know most of y'all have met her already, but for those that haven't, stop by and say hi, introduce yourself officially. She comes to us with about 14 years of experience in local government, most of that being at the Bedford Police Department in various administrative positions. Sounds kind of familiar, right? Administrative assistant, she was a social media coordinator, she did records technician for a little while. So we are very lucky to have found her, and we are excited.
Christine, welcome. Any words? No? I'm sorry, Courtney. Oh, I goofed that up, day one. How we doing?
No, I'm excited to be here. I really appreciate it. It's like a big family, so I love the smaller city atmosphere.
That's great.
So thank you.
And you hail from Canyon Lake,
Yes.
and Canyon Lake High School, where your daughter Payson goes, right?
No, she goes to the middle school.
She goes to the middle school. Okay, I thought she was in, I'm batting 1,000 tonight, aren't I? So, however, Canyon Lake is going to the playoffs too, right? And the only team that we lost to. So,
Yikes.
go Hawks, right? Yikes. A little bit of city rivalry going on in the hallway back there. It's wonderful to have you here, Courtney.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. What else, Marissa?
Just a couple other quick things I want to highlight on my reports. We do have some upcoming holidays that City Hall will be closed. That's Friday, November 11th, Thursday, November 24th, and Friday, November 25th. And then for anyone that hasn't seen it already, the city website redesign is live. I'm probably biased, but I think it looks beautiful. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. The URL hasn't changed, so it's still the same. And then one last thing about the holidays and garbage service. During the week of Thanksgiving, every year, we always have some slight change in the garbage service on your second pickup day. So if your pickup day is normally on Thursday, it'll occur on Friday instead. If it's normally on Friday, it'll occur on Saturday instead. We'll also put that out on social media and on the city's website, but I think most of our residents are pretty used to that by now because it happens every year. That's all I have.
Outstanding, thank you. The way to go on the website, that was a year in the making, right? As far as I remember talking about it last year about this time, and you worked very, very hard on it, and it's wonderful. So thanks so
you.
much.
Thanks.
Council, anything for Marissa or Courtney? No? Go Wolves. Okay, on to 6D, Police Department Chief. The floor is yours, sir.
Are we on? There we go. Thank you. I just want to highlight a few things on the report. We had a busy month. We had National Night Out. We had the Davenport High School Homecoming Parade. We had the GRCPAA Car Show. We had Trunk or Treat, and we have Coffee with the Cops. So this month was very active, and as Ms. Kane said, we had almost 200 hours of community service from our GRCPAA members, and we really appreciate that. We can't accomplish some of these goals without their assistance. They continue to step up for us. Also wanted to point out, so we do have several positions still open in the department. We're still recruiting, going to the academies. We did perform some PT tests just yesterday, actually. We've got 4 applicants in process, and we'll see how those go. Several of them are still in the academy, but we're starting it now, working it through. And I did bring 1 reserve officer on board, and he is on board as a reserve non-paid right now until DEA completes his background, and we're hoping that he will go into our task force position for us. And that is all I've got right now, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, it was a very busy month for you guys. Thanks for everything that the whole department did. Council, anything for Chief Eberhardt? Oh, all right. Thanks, Chief. Moving on to 6E, Public Works. Stephen, you're on.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month of October, we recorded 1.66 inches of rain at City Hall. Volunteers and staff removed 43 pounds of trash from city right-of-ways. We installed a new drinking fountain at Paul Davis Park. We set up and broke down for 5 events. We've repaired potholes on Old Nacogdoches Road and Via Posada, where a water service line was replaced. Again, bulk dumpsters will be back in November, except on the 12th and 13th. They've been rescheduled for December 3rd and 4th. Oak Wilt update, we're still trying to schedule a meeting with residents that would be directly affected by the containment trenching and coordinating with the Texas Forestry Service. 2 dogs are ready for adoption. Animal Services also captured 7 hogs in the Woods subdivision in October. This concludes the Public Works portion.
Thanks, Stephen. Council, any questions for Stephen regarding Public Works? Okay, you're still on with Utilities and Water.
October, we pumped 84.82 acre feet from the Edwards Aquifer. For the year, we've pumped 367.29 from the aquifer, with a remaining of 149.49 acre feet. The Edwards Aquifer has dropped from stage 4 to stage 3 restrictions due to the Comal Springs flow increasing to above 100 cubic feet per second. Currently, Garden Ridge is still in stage 2 water restrictions, and I don't foresee any changes to the current stage in the months to come. We pumped 14.76 acre feet from the Trinity with a total year-to-date of 609.06. All distribution samples for the month passed. We submitted 1 special sample to the lab due to an 8-inch water main repair on Forest Waters, and that came back good. Water loss was 3.4%. The Utilities Department activities include installing 1 new water meter, 32 locates, repaired one 8-inch water main, and we also assisted saws with a 16-inch water main that got damaged due to directional borers that were boring down Bat Cave on the 12th. We have a video of that. We were trying to find out who's, we got a call at 5:30 on that day with a resident that lived on a Bat Cave adjacent to Garden North, saying that her yard was being flooded out by a lot of water. So I turned around, went up there and checked it out, and it turned out to be that new subdivision that they're building right behind Garden North, that a 16-inch water line got hit by that directional bore. So I was assisting the workers that hit it, trying to find the valves and whatnot to try to shut it down. But the valves we did have weren't working, so we had to keep on making phone calls to SAWS, because all the SAWS utilities were in that area, because they have that 60-inch water main over there. They finally came out and admitted this was their pipes. They just didn't have any record on it, because this was a water main that stretched all the way from Evans Road to Bat Cave and then up to that adjacent new subdivision that was going on. So you had to walk quite a ways down the construction path to turn off that water. Anyways, that's how it looked. I would estimate maybe 1.4 million gallons they might have lost off of that. When they did drill through it, they had to go through a cast iron casing first, then they hit the water main. So there was probably a piece of casing about, well, half of about that large with a hole in it, perfect hole in it, that wide, and the casing was probably about half-inch thick metal.
Great work, Stephen.
And actually, I jumped ahead. I was supposed to report on, I lost my page. Where'd it go? AMI notifications. Meters read was 1,695. Total AMI notifications was down 185. Automatic draft customers up 2. E-billing up 5. Customer portals up 13. Abnormal usage up 5. Continuous flows down 2. Leak info codes down 4. Usage trends up 4. October stage 2 alerts down 203 from September. End report.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for all your help with the water main break. I know that was frustrating, especially happened so late in the afternoon, and it was hard to get saws up here and make everything happen. So appreciate all your going above and beyond to get all that done. Thanks for doing that. Council, anything else for Stephen? Jesse?
I just wanted to say, great job on managing the pumping volumes for both the Edwards and Trinity. That's continued to go well. Just like Stephen mentioned, that went back from stage 4 to stage 3, but the Edwards the San Antonio pool was at stage 4 for 18 days. So it increased our loss from 0.62 to 0.71, so it increased quite a bit. Year to date, we've lost 136 acre feet that we lost through those restrictions, which is a big impact on that. Right now, we're looking at probably being at 25% of our allowance for the year. So that's why it's so important. Stephen's doing a great job on that and, keeping that intact. So thank you.
And like Stephen said, I don't anticipate us leaving stage 2.
No, I don't either.
Unless the heavens open up and we get a lot of rain. We are 20 inches behind on the year.
Yeah. And
San Antonio.
Another data point is that the Edwards triggered VISPO, volunteer irrigation suspension something. It affects all the ranchers that are part of it, West Texas, west of San Antonio, because I know Castroville is affected by it. But there's like 50,000 acre feet involved in that, and where the Edwards pays farmers not to pump water. So that being triggered is indication that hard times are still there.
Yep.
It's going to be something we have to watch completely for next year. So.
Yep. It's not going to go away anytime soon. And with the weather forecast for the next 3 months, it's supposed to be warmer and drier. So, all right, Todd or Kay, anything for Stephen? All right, thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you.
That takes us to 6F, the library monthly activity report. Miss Linda, happy belated Halloween trunk or treat. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, we just finished our most successful trunk or treat ever on Monday. I have a counter in my hand, and what I did was count all the people First of all, the CPA people who were parking and helping with parking, I counted the police officers and Public Works, and then as people came in, we had well over 60 people just giving away candy, which was lovely. And then, as people came by my car to get candy, I clicked, and I probably clicked some people more than once because they may have come back a second time, but I'm sure I missed some people. So the grand total is 786, the biggest ever. And people were running out of candy. It was quite an interesting evening, but a wonderful one. Beautiful weather. And I just am so grateful to everybody who participated. For those who gave away candy, for those who helped us in so many ways. I did send some pictures over. Did y'all? I did. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I sent them to Courtney. Well, I won't tell you about the pictures. I was going to do the one about the great leader of Garden Ridge and some guy in boots, but I decided I might lose my job over that.
We did post pictures on our Facebook page, though, I will say that.
Yes.
People wanted to go check those out.
Yes, very good. And so anyway, we had so many pictures. Linda Valdez took about 46 or 48, so it was really hard to just pick out the salient ones. I'm wearing my flag scarf, so it must be November. It must be time for Veterans Day. It's an event that's coming on us really quickly, a week from Friday, November 11th. Now, this is the first time I've actually had it on Veterans Day. I usually have it the day before, and it's going to begin at 12 noon, and it's the first time I've ever served a meal at this time, at this event. So anyone who can hear my voice, if you're coming, I need to know, because we've got to pay for all the meals that we order, and we want to have enough. We don't want to come out at the end. I think I told you a year ago I had about 62 people who said they were coming for Pizza Palooza, and 82 showed up, so it was quite an interesting moment of being terrified. We have another sponsor for this lunch, and I don't know if she's here tonight or not. Veteran Air. About 2 months ago, Missy Davis came and introduced herself and said how delighted they were to be here in Garden Ridge. And she has come alongside us as a partner, and they're going to be providing lunch. Veteran Air, Veterans Day. It's a match made in heaven. So she's such an exuberant person. She makes you feel like she's your friend immediately. I want to be her best friend. So I am cutting off registration on Wednesday, November 9th, so that we can get our food order in. So if you know of anybody, please tell them to respond. The speaker is Lisa Taylor, Executive Director of the Wasp Museum in Sweetwater, Texas, the Women's Air Force Service Patrol, and their contributions to World War II. We're going to have some wonderful kiddos from Davenport who are going to do swing dancing and maybe jitterbug and sing some songs from that era. We're hoping they all stay well. There will be displays from the museum. Also, Larry Mansour has some displays, military displays from as far back as World War I, the old helmets, and just an array of things that people can look at. So it's going to be a great tribute to our veterans and to the military in general. Then we're going to close November 12th. You heard there's going to be the Fall Festival across the street. There's going to be 2 big events at the Civics Community Center on that Saturday, and we figured we would just get lost in the shuffle. So we will be closed that day. And I believe that is all I have.
Thank you, Miss Linda.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
what would you round this up to? 7, 8?
It's just under 1,000, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
close. I rounded it up to 800, so it's a good story. I got to talk with Mayor Mary Dennis yesterday. She's the mayor of Live Oak. And I said, hey, how was your Halloween? I know you guys did a little trunk or treat event. She goes, We did, Rob. It was a lot of fun. We had about probably close to 200 people there. And I said, well, that's pretty good. And she could hear the sarcasm in my voice. And she goes, how was yours? And I said, it was the best ever. It was nearly 800 people. So thanks for the bragging rights on that.
Thank you all for all you did.
It was wonderful.
It's great.
And we're looking forward to Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Council, anything for Miss Linda?
I was just going to make a comment. I like the quote you have on your report there. It's called reading. It's how the people, install new software in your brains. I thought that was pretty neat. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thanks, Linda. Okay, that completes item number 6 with staff reports. On to item number 7, city engineer project status. Mr. Sam Johnson, good to see you, sir. As always, floor is yours.
Good to be here. Good evening. My report is going to be pretty short. TxDOT Project 2252, we have addressed the city's, the TxDOT's comments. We just need to get the plan set to them and start the TxDOT permit. Once we get the permit, then we could put the project out to bid. So we're getting pretty close. And then as far as land development, I don't have much to add. But only thing I want to say is that we're getting pretty close to getting our first sewer customer. So hopefully next couple of months they can get started with their construction, and then we'll have the first sewer customer on the system. So that's pretty exciting. So, but that concludes my report.
That's great, Sam. It is exciting to have our first wastewater customer. It's big stuff. Thank you. Council, anything for Sam? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, on to item number 8, City Commission and Committee reports, recommendations, and possible actions. 8A is planning and zoning. Even though Karen is here, the planning and zoning did not meet in October, so there's no update at this time. That'll take us to 8B, Water Commission. And welcome, Chairman Mueller. It's good to see you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here. Good evening, Mayor Erickson, council members. The first item we have is a request for water leak adjustment for 7933 Garden North for the billing period of March 23rd, 22 to April 23rd, 2022. And some quick details on this one. This was a slow leak that turned into a rather large leak for the customer. And it started on April 2nd, and then it was ended on April 4th when the customer shut off the water and got it repaired. They shut it off immediately when they found the error, or found the leak, or notified about the leak. This leak was pretty far away from the house, not really visible, and the water was draining into a drainage ditch. So very low likelihood to be seen. It was in the water. It was in the line from the meter to the house. Let's see here. I think there's something else I was going to mention. Okay, maybe not. After the commission reviewed this and we worked out the water department, and we decided to forward their recommendation of a credit of $589.66 to City Council for final approval. So, Mr. Mayor, over to you for any further questions to take action.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, Council, so what we need here for the leak adjustment, you've heard Water Commission's recommendation. Does anybody have any comments or questions regarding the leak adjustment and or for Jim? No? Okay.
How was the AMI meter involved? Because there was one, correct?
Yes, that's interesting. The AMI meter, actually, it sent the notification on the 8th of April, so 6 days late. We are not sure why.
Are we going to find out why?
I'm pretty sure Stephen's looking into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the things we brought up at our commission meeting.
Has that occurred before that we know of?
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay. Jesse, did you have something? You go.
Okay. So for that comment that was just mentioned about, I noticed there were several times where there was a void. Somewhere it was just hours, sometimes there was, in the readings, days. So my guess is the distance, it's outside the city limits, it could be a distance, could be the thing, so I was gonna work with Stephen on that, see maybe we can change out the box or something, it could be a communication problem between there and we're missing things, so it's, that's what I'm thinking it is, so I'll follow up on that with Stephen, but, needless,
Well, it's
so,
an intermittent okay.
yeah, so something's going on there that's not, yeah. But anyway, so my observation, so I noticed that the plumber made a notation that the pressure was 110 PSI, which is higher than our ordinance requires it. I asked Stephen to, if he knew if the pressure regulator had been replaced or anything checked, so I'll let Stephen respond to what he found out.
The pressure regulator hadn't been replaced, and I advised the guy that it would probably be a good idea to get it updated. His plumber told him that they didn't mention anything about it needing replaced, so that's why he said he didn't really have it done.
So, and I guess my statement to Stephen based on that is now we know that that pressure was 110, that unless they get it fixed, any future leaks while this condition is void. No other, we have a grounds to say deny, so they need to be aware of that. Anyway, showed that. Clearly, the leak's there, with, for those few hours, almost 2 days, day and a half. So, for council is that our ordinance says we pay, you have to bill at tier 2 rates. So that's why the calculation shows 63,000 instead of 73,000 that he calculated. That's to make the 20,000, minimum tier there. So just for that information. That's all I have to add. Just want you understand that. But the point I wanted to make was the pressure regulator hasn't been repaired yet. So.
They'll need to do that.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments? Council, any comments for the leak adjustment? If there's no further comments, can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve the water leak adjustment for 7933 Garden North.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second.
No time.
Council place 4. Any further discussion? Call to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, anything else? Monthly report there.
Yes, sir. For the
Please.
monthly report, we had our last meeting on the 20th of September. At that meeting, we had our initial discussion about water rates and any water rate adjustments that might need to be made for next year. I'm not going to have any spoilers tonight because Vice Chair Harshberger went through and he gave us a pretty detailed, his usual, very detailed, thorough work. However, he's a perfectionist and it's not all complete, so he will see you in December after he gets all of that stuff worked out. We take one last look at it, and then you'll hear about recommendations for the water rate structure for the upcoming year. Other than that, we did hold a vote for chair and vice chair for the upcoming year. It's going to remain the same. I'm going to remain your water commission chair, and Commissioner Harshberger is going to remain the vice chair for the next year. And that is it. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 15th here. Any other questions, sir? Council?
No, sir. Council, any questions for our chair to remain our chair? Outstanding. Thanks for volunteering.
I wanted to say thank you for accepting.
Thanks so much. All right, that'll take us to item number 8C, the Parks Committee. Nancy.
Mr. Chamberlain is running late. He expects to be here about 7.
We're okay to keep moving and go back because it's on the agenda, correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
We will come back to when Rod Chamberlain gets here. We'll move on to item number 9, approvals and authorizations. Following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. 9A, the Charter Commission. Nancy, you go first on this.
In your packet, you have a list of individuals on a page that says Home Rule Charter Commission. These are our recommendations for appointment to that commission. Each individual has either personally or through email responded and said they are honored to serve on the Home Rule Charter Commission. Very, very honored. We originally were striving for 10 people, but we were unable to obtain that 10th individual, so we are presenting you with 9 individuals. The Charter Commission will have to follow all of the Texas Open Meetings Act. So there will be a quorum requirement for all the meetings, which will be 5 individuals, and we feel with 9 people, we are pretty safe in being able to meet the quorum requirement. I think we've got a good group here. Mayor, it's all yours.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an outstanding group. Remember when Charlie briefed us on home rule, he said that he's had as few as 7 charter commissioners for a city and as many as 17. So 17 sounds like a lot. 7 sounded not quite as many as we'd like. So the only reason we don't have 10 is just based on schedule. Charlie gave us his availability from November all the way through to February, into January. And we gave those as potential commissioners responded to us, hey, what's going to be the schedule? We would present that to them. And just based on the schedule, they were not able, some were not able to do it. So, but we appreciate those that have volunteered. I think it's a fantastic list. It spans Garden Ridge, and we're excited about it. So we need to ask if you guys have any questions on it about who we chose and who said yes. If you don't have any questions, then we need a motion to approve the members chosen for the volunteers chosen for the Charter Commission for City of Garden Ridge.
Whoops. I move to approve the recommended Home Rule Charter Commission appointees as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second from place 4. It's on a roll. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. If any of you are out there listening or watching tonight, thanks for volunteering to do this. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge, and we appreciate in advance stepping up to the cause. So thanks so much. More to follow on that. I think our first meeting is November 28th. Is that right, Nancy? Followed up by November 30th. So we'll be fast and furious. Okay. And on we go. 9B, the 2022 Garden Ridge Deer Survey results from Texas Parks and Wildlife. Thank you to everyone that volunteered to do the deer surveys. Some of you are up here at the dais, and some are out there in the city. So you guys have already reviewed this and can see it as well as I. The overall deer acres per deer has gone up, which means the overall population of the deer has gone down. So we attribute, when talking to our wildlife biologist, he attributes that to a very hot and dry year, and then also migration, because they got to go to where the water and the food is. So, and we obviously haven't done anything to affect the population this year. So there's one more graph which is confusing. Do we have that on there? Okay, so this when you look at this graph, you go, hey, our deer population went up, the blue line's going up. That just means that we want to get closer to their recommended 5 acres per deer. So that's just our deer density. That line going up means that we're getting closer to their recommendation, which means the overall population of deer has gone down. So we'll continue to track this every year. As you all know, we dissolved the Wildlife Management Advisory Commission just last month. So we'll continue to track this as a city every year. And our biologist is out there to help us out. So any questions? To my right, to my left? Okay, fantastic. On to 9C, the 2023 legislative session. All right. So Mary Dennis, again, like I mentioned, the mayor of Live Oak, she's very involved with TML, Texas Municipal League, and that is, for those that don't know out there, TML is our organization that helps lobby for the cities and municipalities of the state of Texas, big and small. And it's a great organization. Mary Dennis is very involved with that organization. She used to be the president. She's doing a few other things now, but she spends a great deal of time during our biennial legislative sessions going up there and being on not commissions but advisory councils for our elected officials up in Austin. The next session starts, it's the 88th legislature, and it starts on the 10th of January and it ends on the 29th of May. 140 regular days of regular session. A couple of highlights. Because of a number of factors, increase in ad valorem taxes, property tax revenue, as well as the price of gas means that there are more taxes levied upon gas. As we spend more for gas, that means there's an influx of tax revenue from that. And depending on what periodical you read, it can even say that because of the war between Russia and Ukraine and wheat prices and whatnot, all of those things, as inflation goes up, they're taxed more, so there's more revenue. That means that there's an extra $27 billion in the coffers for the Texas legislature to act upon in 2023. And they already have a rainy day fund of $13.6 billion. So those are huge numbers, and that's part of the reason that we as a city need to watch closely and we need to be involved. So Northeast Partnership, we as mayors, we met last Wednesday night, and we plan on a bus trip that I think Senator Donna Campbell is going to sponsor for us to take us up there. And I think councils are invited to go. So I know mayors pro tem are invited as well. So we'll go up there as an organization to lobby on behalf of NEP, as well as I would like us as a city to go up there. And when I say city, I mean council and city staff. So to go up there and spend a day watching and a day meeting with people and talking about what's important to Garden Ridge. So Mary Dennis gave me this booklet. It's the 2022 Municipal Policy Summit that they had in August with a bunch of different cities and mayors. And Mary went on behalf of NEP because there's only so many people that are invited, principals that are invited. And there's a lot in that 140 days that's going to happen that could affect the city of Garden Ridge. Just for instance, there are a lot of revenue caps, appraisal caps that are coming down to be talked about, property tax exemptions, sales tax exemptions. What else? Annexation, extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ. So what some legislators are proposing is that they want to take away a city's ability to do anything with their ETJ, literally. So that would mean that if we have an ETJ with, with the city of Garden Ridge, just outside the city limits, we would have no authority and no regulatory ability upon what is built there. None. That's what they're talking about. No revenue, nothing. So that's something that we need to, that's not in the best interest of Garden Ridge, in my opinion. And we need to lobby to go, no, this is not what you want to do. I don't know why that's part of the agenda. We'll do some more reading to figure out what they're trying to say. But even the city of San Antonio is like, no, we don't want that at all. So, and NEP is very, very much against that. So, what else? Tree preservation, short-term rentals. Lots of stuff on there. So, what you can expect is we'll come up with a list of possible dates that we could go up there as a city, and then throw that out to you guys and come up with one date that we can all agree upon, and we'll make it work and go up there. So what do you guys think? Yeah? Yes? Kelly, welcome. Good to see you. So we'll make that happen. And there's, if you guys want to, this will be on my desk if you guys want to browse through it for some light reading. Any questions or discussion on that? All right.
Possibly we could get a copy of it?
I don't have an electronic copy, but I will ask Mary for it. So I will, if I get one, I will send that out to you guys. All right. Thanks. You bet. 9D, update on utility work being conducted in TxDOT right away along FM 3009. Nancy.
Well, obviously, they're still out there working on that right-of-way. It appears that what they're doing now is pushing the cable through the casing that they laid. The company that is responsible for this, the remainder of this project is called TechStar Enterprises. They had subcontracted this project out to Fort Trench and Bohr, but they will not be finishing the project because they had some issues with a workforce to be able to come out and complete the project. They have indicated, Stephen has talked to the manager, the project manager for TechStar Enterprises. His name is Tracy Martin. He was anticipating that they would be starting cleanup this week, but obviously they are not if they're still, if they're putting the fiber into the casing. So we are going to keep a very close eye on this project. Stephen's going to stay in contact with them, and we will keep y'all informed as to what we find out. The next phase of the project is when they are going to be performing their cleanup work. They had indicated that they are going to, the cleanup was going to be topsoil and erosion matting. I think we need to find out a little bit more about the erosion matting and possibly some seeding or hydromulching or something to restore the vegetation aspect of it. Do you have anything to add, Stephen, that I've missed?
I talked to them again today, trying to find out all that they're going to be doing for the restoring the right-of-way. They did say they're going to put topsoil, and I did specify, do you going to use erosion mat or hydro mulch? And the project foreman said something to the effect of, if it needs the hydromulch or areas that are going to look like it's prone to erosion, they'll use hydromulch on those areas also. They are doing the sliding the cable through the casing. They're pretty much 95% done with the project. They've already gone through the other side of FM 2252. They're supposed to be stopping somewhere around Walmart on 3009. They're having a holdup because they have to go underneath 2252, but they have to go get another TxDOT permit before they're allowed to do that because of all of the new utilities being moved for the widening of that area. So they're still going to be here down the road, but they're almost pretty much finished putting the line in. And told them basically, get all those rocks out of their people's yards, do what you can. He said they're going to try to make it look even better than it was before they were here, from the foreman's statement.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Nancy. Just another update for council through Will Lockett, our contact with TxDOT. We were able eventually to get the actual point of contact for the person that issues TxDOT permits, work permits, Mr. Cesar Villegas, who's the permit coordinator for TxDOT San Antonio. And what he was looking for was, hey, can you give me the information of stuff that's been, property that's been damaged, so that he can track that and make sure that what can be repaired / replaced is repaired and / replaced. Obviously, if there's a rock wall that's come down, that'll be difficult to do, but we're working hard, as hard as we can, for our residents that have been directly affected with this, and some of whom are in the audience here tonight. So we're not stopping. We're full charge ahead. You guys keep doing what you're doing, and we'll make sure that we're working on our end with the people that are actually in charge of issuing these permits and whatnot to get it fixed. So, Stephen, anything else to add on that?
No.
Okay. Nancy? Okay. Council, any questions? Great. All right. That'll take us, we're still waiting on Mr. Chamberlain, so we'll move on to item number 10, City Council projects. And the first one, 10A1, is mitigation of growth and encroachment impacts on Garden Ridge. And that's Lisa and I. And Lisa, we had an exciting week last week with all that. You go.
We did. The mayor, Nancy, Cynthia, and I went to the city of San Antonio and met with their director of planning, Bridget White, as well as her staff, and then Clayton Perry, Councilman Perry, and some of his staff to discuss the release of some of the San Antonio ETJ to us. Now, keeping in mind we don't know what's going to happen ETJ-wise. Also keep in mind that the amount of land that we can ask to be released is dependent on whether we're general law or home rule. All of that said, they seemed very amenable to it. So had some great discussions. The next step is really the attorneys talking to each other, nailing a proposal that we can get in front of San Antonio City Council and then move forward from there. Just as a side note, I think we said before that Paul Jimenez, the chief of staff to Clayton Perry, lives in Ramble Ridge, so we claim him one of our own. And we also found out that Eric Walsh, the city manager for San Antonio, grew up in Garden Ridge. So he made a special little trip down to our meeting room to say hello.
Cinchona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So small world there. Couple of other things. There is anything to do with Great Springs I keep an eye on, and they're great with communicating with us. The purpose of Great Springs, among other things, is trail development. Underneath everything they do is conservation of land and preservation. So they have a trail workshop coming up that's a virtual one that I'm going to attend. And then they also have one in conjunction with Alamo Area MPO. That is going to be an in-person workshop. And that is, that one is on the 8th of December. So I'll get you some more information about that. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. So that was exciting. We took some Garden Ridge bling / merch with us just to make sure that they've got the appropriate stuff there and T-shirts to wear. And like Lisa said, they didn't say no, and they started out a little bit standoffish, but we put on the Garden Ridge charm and we worked the crowd, and by the end of the meeting, about an hour, it was amicable. And hey, we can do this. There is a process that will follow. Right now, for general law type A, we can only go out from our city limits half a mile. If we become home rule, let's say when we become home rule, we can go out a mile. So the next step in this process is myself and Nancy and Sam Johnson getting together and talking about how to map out that mile, because we're gonna make the good assumption that we're gonna do well with the Charter Commission for Home Rule, educating our residents and voters on the general election for Home Rule next May, and that we will be able to go out a full mile from the sections, the parts of the city that we'd like to do that with. So, and that's going to take a while to do, and then we'll be working this through the next year to make that happen. So, but that's what we're doing. So, any questions? Great. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's wonderful for the city of Garden Ridge. And we're getting out there too, which is good stuff. All right, Lisa, anything else? Nope. Sweet. 10A2, Economic Development and Council Liaison to Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Kelly.
Yes, sir. I don't have a whole lot on this front except we're one of those predicaments, I guess you'd say. If you build it, they will come. And we just need one of our landowners out there or developers to put a plan together and run with it and submit it to us. And so I'm talking with a couple of landowners and developers right now. I have a meeting next week with an individual who has 5 locations, sports bars, and he wants to put an upscale sports bar here. And he has been continually like in contact with me. So hey, it's not me on him, it's him on me, which is great. And very quick to get back, and we're meeting up next week and meeting with a landowner to throw some ideas around and hopefully help this landowner friend of ours make a decision on what he wants to do. So, and then also in talks with a commercial developer right now. That's probably in a couple weeks. I don't have a meeting yet on that.
Outstanding. Thanks, Kelly. Council, any questions for Kelly? All right, they'll take us to 10A3, Alamo Area MPO. Jesse.
Okay, the November Technical Advisory Committee meeting that was scheduled for this Friday was canceled. It'll be, the next meeting will be in December 2nd, so. But TxDOT announced recently a 10-year plan of investing $2.5 billion in 14 projects here in the San Antonio metropolitan area. The biggest part of that is the I-35, elevated lanes. The portion within Bexar County is looked at to be complete around 2027. So got a few years to go. And then after that, they'll expand the next part from Bexar County into Comal, which takes us past 1103. So, and then further into that part. So, but that's the second largest investment in Texas. San Antonio's second to Austin area for the money that TxDOT is putting into the area. Total, it's in roads. So I know it's going to be rough, going around. I appreciate the PD for putting notices out, on Facebook as far as closed road lane closures and all that, but that's more to come, so. The positive part is Texas is investing money in our area. So that's the plus we have to, live with through the process. I just hope I still be able to drive through it, when it's all complete, That's all I have at this point. Oh, well, I'll cover it in another section, another part, but that's all I have for this part.
All right, anybody have anything for Jesse for MPO stuff? Thanks for doing that. You're still up with water company utilities.
Okay, well, everything I was going to cover here, I covered earlier in Stephen's report about the EC4, and, Stephen mentioned about we'll probably stay in the San Antonio pool, stay in stage 3, so we'll have to just plan next year accordingly. So I'll continue to work with the water department on that. So nothing else on that, I just got that going.
Thanks, Jesse. 10-5, council liaison to Comal ISD. Todd, what you got?
Not much. You stole most of it earlier. Band's going to state, football team's going to the playoffs, the volleyball team is the by-district champ, and going on from there. We've got the Seussical coming up. There's an awful lot of stuff going on at a high school that's been open for 3 years. So, beyond that, Comal Forward's still meeting. Unfortunately, their most recent meeting is right now. Needless to say, I'm not at that one. So we expect to see some information coming out about a potential school bond, probably here in the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine, because they've got to get it set up, because I believe they're going to try to call it for the May election. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Todd. Oh, wait. Go Wolves. Okay, good. Sorry. All right. Kate, city welcome signage. You're up.
Yeah, I don't know, Marissa, if you're able to post any of the water tower things that you received, please?
Do you want to see the pictures or the other documents?
The pictures. We don't need the document. The most recent, well, we could run those 6 and then the more recent one, please.
I only have these 6.
Okay. I forwarded that one that Mr. Bruck forwarded to me. Anyway, well, basically what it is, he came forward and approached us, the mayor and I had talked to him about dressing up our water towers. And to be honest, his quotes were a little bit pricey. It also involved taking over maintenance, it was a contract, if you will, of the water towers themselves. And he met with Stephen as well. The mayor met Mr. Bruck, or ran into, or whatever, tracked him, I don't know, at TML, and said that his quotes were a little bit off in terms of a little bit too expensive for what we're hoping to do. So he came back with basically a baseline quote, which is more or less what you see there, but no stripes. I mean, it just is a logo. And it's half the price. It's around $9,000. To be honest, I don't even know if that he did submit a contract. Of course, we're not signing it yet, but if at all. But I don't recall if that said there was a maintenance issue, because obviously maintaining that would be an issue. I don't recall. Maybe the mayor does. If that, I mean, there would have to be periodic maintenance of the sign, of the logo, the copy on it.
Yeah, just touching up paint and stuff like that, but the maintenance contract that's a separate issue.
It is separate.
Yeah.
It is separate. But as far as just painting our water tower, I think, to be honest, if we went with, and this is nothing, and I told Mr. Bruck again that this is not something we're going to do in the immediate future. It is something, obviously, we can't go forward without some idea of cost, or if it's even feasible to consider. It is an identity for us, and of course, it would have our new logo, which would be great. But I said it would be into the spring before we could even consider it, but we can't go forward without some basic knowledge. So that's where we are on that. And we personally, we've discussed it, and we think that, to be honest, going with the baseline is settling, and I don't think we want to settle. So I think it needs to be all or none. We need to consider the previous pictures that we sit and see if there's a way to negotiate or somehow find the funds or have it underwritten in some way so that we get something happy with and we're not settling. There's no point in doing it if we're settling. We don't need to spend $9,000 or $10,000 to get something we don't really want. I personally think it's all or none. So that's more or less where we are on that. Do you concur?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Kay. So the pictures that Michael Bruck sent us, you saw one was of the taller water towers. We have no intention of doing anything with those as far as the city seal and whatnot on our big 157-foot tall tower. We're not doing that. What we're talking about is well 9 storage tank right outside of George Ranch. So, and when he gave us the more baseline, the $9,500 version, it looked like we'd be settling. And why would we spend $10,000 on something that isn't what we want exactly? So this is an ongoing project. Kay has also talked to an architect / engineer who's given an estimate to produce basically statues or a work of art at each entrance to the city on 2252, 3009, 4 of them, right? Okay.
Correct.
Right, and so, and those are each like 20 grand a pop. So, and they're gonna be beautiful when we eventually see those, but that's something that's in the future. So this is gonna be an ongoing project as funds become available, discretionary funds become available to spend on something for Garden Ridge, welcome signage that you guys will get to decide on later on. So Kay's working really hard on this. Thank you.
Yeah, I found the gentleman very thorough. I don't have actually pictures. He did do, I met with him and we drove around to the 4 proposed sites, one being, we're calling it Shanetal on the entrance. The idea being to create entrances or gateways, if you will, to our city from 4 different directions. Shanetal would be the most logical and the first one, should we go forward, because it's feasible to do. We don't anticipate any expansion or anything of the road that would nullify what we've done. We'd also go something simpler. I believe I addressed this last month, down, coming into Garden Ridge down by Schneider Lane, something similar, but smaller. And then again, of course, on TxDOT, coming in up by the city limits up there. But again, that certainly wouldn't come until TxDOT is done doing whatever they're going to do. And then we would have one as well at the gateway, if you will, coming up over from Schertz. Again, that would have to wait, in my opinion, until there's further development and TxDOT is done. But his proposal, like as Rob said, was in the neighborhood of $100,000 for all 4. Obviously, I think we can work on that because I think his costs involve materials, labor, and design, and so on. And I think possibly we could work on a materials aspect of it to cut our costs. But again, he's aware that this is a work in progress, something that we need to consider. The idea being that if we do go forward, they would in fact match one another except in size, so that we don't have just random, here's a sign, here's a sign, here's a sign. It'd be an identity, a cohesive identity for us.
It's great work, Kay. Thank you. Council, anything for Kay? All right, more to follow. I did see Mr. Chamberlain walk in, so welcome. And sir, if you're ready, we'll go back to the Parks Committee for your monthly update. Sorry the traffic was so bad, and thanks for getting here safely.
Thank you. The traffic from the community center to here was horrendous. I'd like to thank the council for accommodating my earlier appointment that I had to take care of, and no one lynched me, so that was good news there. So I'm here today. But our last general membership meeting was held on October the 12th. Our next general meeting will be this coming Wednesday, November the 9th. It'll be held in the Bluebonnet Room at the community center at 9:30, and guests are always welcome. So if any of you really don't have anything to do on a Wednesday morning, you want to come join us, please do so from that area. Update on open items, or update on ordinance number 24, which is the rental of facilities at the parks. The Parks Committee has finished their upteenth review of it, and we have sent it over to the city administrator. Next step is to give the city a chance to go ahead and review it, and then we'll have a joint meeting on that side to come into play. But good progress was made in that area. Next thing is, last August, you had gone ahead and given an approval for Scout Noah Bliss's Eagle Scout project, the 2 bicycle racks. He is going to be looking to install those on November the 12th on a Saturday morning. So if you want to come by and see some young men out there doing the work, please go ahead and stop on by at that time. I think he was looking for an 8:30 ballpark on time-wise, but I will get that information out to you. Our primary focus over the last 30 days has been Noah's Eagle Scout project, as I previously mentioned. The 2 bike racks will be, once again, close to the 4-square pad that is in the main parking lot. The new one will be close to between the Gaga Ball pit, the basketball court, and the baseball diamond, so that the kids can go ahead and put their bikes there and go to any one of those 3 supporting facilities. We continue to work on expanding the trail that we currently have at Paul Davis Park. You'll hear more information on that over the next couple of months, and I probably will be reaching out to you individually to get your input and to get your advice on what we can and cannot do, or what we should consider. And we also worked on the planning and scheduling for our 8th Christmas tree annual tree lighting that's coming up from that area. So what's planned for the next 60 days is, once again, the Christmas tree lighting, and also the review of ordinance number 24 with City Hall from that area. And once again, if anyone's had any questions or concerns, please, you can reach out to us at gardenridgeparks@gmail.com. Any volunteers that would like to help with the parks or any of our events, please feel free to reach out to us. And Mr. Mayor, at this time, I'd like to close the base part of or put my meeting on pause, if I could, my presentation, and come back to you after Q&A with an update on the Christmas tree lighting.
You bet.
Okay, any
Any questions for Mr. Chamberlain so far? Okay, you can keep going.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to go ahead and thank the sponsors, because year in and year out, we could not do any of the celebrations that the Parks Committee works on without the funding and the support of our sponsors. And the 2 of them that just jump out at year in and year out again is Audi North Park and also Korea Realty Group from that side. So thanks to all their effort, and everything else comes into it. And one of our ways to help say thank you back to them is we've reached out to the Stroll magazine, which some of you are familiar with. There will be an ad in the November issue, full-page ad, that actually has been donated by Debbie Weber with photography. She actually did the design work, and the magazine actually went ahead and gave us free ad space for a full page, which is really fantastic from that side. So if you see her next time, tell her thanks, and we appreciate everything she's doing for the city from that point. The next thing is they're working on a flyer that'll go onto our social media platforms that come into play. And once again, reaching out to our sponsors. We may have 2 more additional sponsors yet to be determined, but we continue to work on that. And if you know someone who is interested, please let us know so we can reach out to them directly from that point. The event will be this coming, the first Friday of December the 2nd. It will actually, parking lot will open up at 5:30. The GRES choir will go ahead and start at 5:45 under the able direction of Ms. Jeske. She'll handle that part. Then we will have a welcome message from the mayor. In case you have not met him, he's a very talented person. He does a wonderful job. And then also we'll follow it up with the Christmas tree lighting. We will have 3 representatives from GRES that will be doing the Christmas tree lighting this year. Along with that, also, we'll have a special holiday message from the mayor after he's opened it up. We'll have like I said, the lighting of the tree again. And I'm also very happy to report, and we got confirmation from NORAD, which really just blew me away that that a 5-star general would contact me. Just blew me away. Santa Claus will be here. I want you to know that. He's scheduled. We've got it confirmed and everything else. And he's going to stay around long enough for the kids to go ahead and, say Merry Christmas to him, and for him to listen to whatever they may have for their Christmas tree list. for the president. But anyway, he will be here. I'm choked up over here, just want you to know that, okay? We also make sure that he'll be sharing some of his special Christmas candy with the kids as well that come into play. We'll have photo ops that come in as well. We have a fantastic surprise MC that's going to be here this year. Some of you may know him. Names will be disclosed later. And we also will have face painting available to the kids. There will be 2 face painters so that, because our event is for 2 hours, we want to make sure that all the kids get a chance to get in, get with Santa, and also have a chance to get their face, decorated for the Christmas holiday. So we can handle a quicker time period. And we will have 1, if not 2 or 3 food trucks still working on negotiations on that piece to come into play. Plus, we'll have Audie Northpark will be there as well, representing us, and Danny Correa from Correa Realty Group will be doing the hot chocolate again as well from that side. Any questions that you may have for me, Mr. Mayor? And I
No, sir.
apologize for my voice.
No,
It's
you're okay.
gone.
Council, anything for Rod?
No?
Yes,
We're
sir.
looking forward to it. Please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm good. You go.
And we've discussed this, and I'm not trying to be premature about this, but we are anticipating, as we do every year, having a meeting every week up to, it's only 3 additional meetings. But we welcome people. It'll be the same Wednesday.
The same Wednesday
Each week.
at 9:30 at the Blue Bonnet Room.
Right.
Except on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We may move that to Tuesday. That will be
Right.
determined.
But the
week
point is,
before.
we feel that a weekly meeting is necessary before the event.
Yes.
And secondarily, this, of course, supplants First Friday, as you noted. This is First Friday. And also, we are considering, and I know, obviously, we're going to talk about that, changing our Wednesday meeting date after this event so that we can accommodate more of us being able to go to Coffee with the Cops, as long as they don't move their date.
Well, that has to be, the committee will decide on that.
No, I
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that. I'm just
right.
bringing it to the
Yes.
attention
Yes.
that there's
'Cause
no reason we
we'd
can't
like to-
consider moving
As
the
long as
date.
Chief Ron's going to be there, I'll make sure that I show up, but,
Anyway, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
just
no, you're
expanding
right.
on that. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rod.
we're good from there.
Thanks, Kay.
Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it. I know you guys are busy. Thanks for everything you guys do, Rod.
Well, thank you, and I
We can't wait.
apologize for you having
That's no
to
worries.
change your schedule.
No worries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the Parks Committee presentation. We'll move on to item number 11, discussion of future agenda items. Is there anything that you guys want to see in December on the agenda?
I'll just announce
Jesse.
what I have already communicated with you and Marissa and Nancy. Short presentation by the Metropolitan, on MPO by Sonia Jimenez. She's the Deputy Director of the Alamo Area MPO. She'll be here at the February City Council meeting, so we'll have it out on the agenda then. If anybody on council has any questions, specific questions you want to have her, answer, please send them to Marissa, and then I'll forward them to her beforehand and help her prepare. But just for the record.
Thanks, Jesse. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to item number 12, citizen comment period. Anybody, any takers out there in the audience for tonight? Dr. Miller? It's good to see you, sir, as always. And the floor is yours.
Dr. Jim Miller, 9910 Marie Meadow. I've been coming to these city council meetings for several years. I started just as an interested citizen, and that changed into volunteerism, which I'm proud to continue to this day. I've never seen anybody on the city council or really any citizen speak against the city or the city's interest. I say that to say Shelby Trial was one of the first people that I admired on the city council when I started coming. And he's come for the last 2 or 3 meetings with some concerns that I'm not quite sure about what's going on. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in the city that's not quite sure what's going on. It sounded like something that could be simply taken care of with an apology if it's deserved, or something else. I just know Shelby well enough to know, as all of you also know Shelby, he ain't going away, okay? He'll be here every month until it's addressed one way or the other. I'd like to see the city council address it, or at least give me some background. If it's petty city politics, so be it. Apologize, let's move on. That's the main thing that I had to talk about this evening more than anything else. The other thing is that water loss on Bat Cave. I want to know who pays for that. 1.4 million gallons of water, or 1.4 acre feet. That's a lot of water. I know as a city we put a lot of time in tracking water and stuff, and somebody needs to pay for that. If it's subcontracted, there has to be consequences one way or the other. Otherwise, they just keep drilling and hitting stuff and moving on, and that's not right. That's all I have.
Thanks, Dr. Miller. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. We'll close item number 12, citizen comment period, and move on to item number 13, reports and comments from mayor and city council members. Anybody want to go?
I just have one thing. I did get the chance to meet the new superintendent, Dr. Chapman, at the Comal Forward meeting that Todd and I attend. And I did, of course, run after him and give him my business card and invite him to the city. He's overwhelmed right now, but he's certainly interested and willing to come out.
Thanks for making those introductions.
I've talked to the communications director of Comal ISD to get a meeting, breakfast, something together with us, with the new superintendent. So we'll see what that happens. I mean, that's not going to happen until probably after Christmas, but just given he's running around with his hair on fire, trying to take over a big school district, so.
Thank you both. I look forward to that. Can't wait to meet him. All right, I will go. Families of Garden Ridge, our next pickup along 2252 is Saturday, this Saturday, from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We're going to meet, as always, in Northeast Bible Church parking lot, the front parking lot. We're going to have members of the football team there, and some other, I think basketball is going to show up, and baseball is going to show up too. So that will be, that'll help out greatly. So I'd love to see if you guys got some time on Saturday morning. I'd love to see you out there. Todd, I know you and the Boy Scouts are doing the other side of 2252 all the time. Northeast Partnership, we've got our luncheon next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. And Garden Ridge is responsible this month for door prizes. So we'd love to have, if you guys are available, love to have you there. We filled up an entire table in October, and that was fun. So especially with our guest, General Stewart, that was awesome. Love to see you guys there. We have our Comal County luncheon next Monday, right, Nancy? Would also love to see you guys there. And I think last year we didn't have a luncheon in December, so this will probably take us into the new year. And my guess it'll be fairly well attended. It was last year. So especially with the election going on. Let's see, what else? Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Kelly, there's a elected officials mixer. The 13th?
Yeah. All right, so
16th?
First things first, next luncheon, Tuesday the 8th, 11 a.m. Next one, and one of my favorites, is the elected officials reception. This is, to my knowledge, the largest one in our region. I mean, within 300 miles. It's we have elected officials and dignitaries from all over this region, and including San Antonio. That's where I met our friend down at Clayton. So I invite all you guys to come out. It would be a great time. You'll meet a lot of people, and it's great networking. And that's what we've done a really good job of our city getting out there and networking, and this is just another one that'll get us out there and get our name out there. And then I talked to Mindy, and they're wanting to move their yearly cornhole tournament to Garden Ridge next September. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, Todd, for filling in at the mixer for me last week. Thank you very much. Had a little schedule conflict. And that is all I have.
Thanks, Kelly. Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to cover,
Please.
we had our 7th annual car show on the 22nd, very successful. We had 153 cars show up, hundreds of spectators, I think a lot of traffic going in. Had great hamburgers prepared by our chief and assistant. So we were honored to have Mayor Rob pass out the awards, so he was a lot of pictures that Linda took. So you got a whole collection if you want them. Anyway, thanks for all the volunteers, and special thanks to our sponsors. A lot of city staff was quite a bit involved in that, so thanks to everybody. Right now, early estimates show that income, or net revenue was $14,000. So best year ever. Okay,
That's
a little bit lower.
huge. I mean, it's amazing what you guys did. Fantastic. Thank you. And how many awards? 110? Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jesse. Anybody else with reports and updates? Great. We'll close out item number 13. And we'll move on to item number 14, and I'll read this verbatim. Executive session, the City Council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in executive session. 14A, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 5510711 and 5510712, consultation with attorney, and 5510772, deliberations about real property. 1, to seek advice, legal advice regarding pending litigation, cause number Charlie 2022-0615 Bravo, Michael C. Dumgart II versus City Council for the City of Garden Ridge, Texas. 14.2, to consult with and receive legal advice regarding variance and special use permit processes related to development project Guadalupe Ready Mix, proposed concrete batch plant at 2762 FM 2252. And 3, to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, Kamal CAD property ID 73532. All right, with that said, we will go into recess at 7:37, and let's meet back behind us in council chambers at, let's go with 7:45. Does that work? Okay. Then we are recessed until 7:45 in executive session. Thank you. Okay, we will reconvene in regular session after our executive session at 8:37 p.m. And we'll move on to item number 15, business items. We don't have anything coming forth from executive session to act upon. So we'll close out 15 and go straight to 16, adjournment. There being no further business, the City Council regular meeting for November is adjourned at 8:37 p.m. We stand adjourned.